Welcome students. Today we are going to start a chapter called steam turbine. In this chapter we are going to learn the basics of steam turbine, what is the basic principles of steam turbine, the basic principles of nozzles, the velocity diagram of the steam turbine, and we will do some numerical on it, and also the different conditions of steam flowing through these blades and this kind of thing. So let's start. So a steam turbine is nothing but it's a prime mover which commonly converts the energy of high pressure, high temperature steam supplied by a steam generator into a shaft work. Okay, so with the low temperature steam exhausted to the condenser, and this energy conversion essentially occurs in two steps. First one is the high pressure high temperature steam first expands in the nozzles and comes out at a high velocity. The high velocity jets of steam coming out of the nozzle and strikes on the blades mounted on the wheel and get deflected by the angle and suffers a loss of momentum, which is absorbed by the rotating wheel in producing torque. Okay, so a steam turbine is basically a assemble of nozzles and blades. So as shown in this figure, this one is the steam turbine and this one is the hydro turbine. Okay, so this is the basic steam turbine. It's developed by a Greek inventor named Hero of Alexandria, and is a prototype of a steam turbine in 120 BC, which operated in reaction principles. Okay, the it consists of a simple closed spherical vessels mounted on a bearing and carrying the steam from a boiler with four tangential pipes, but here we have shown only two tangential pipes, and discharging steam is driven around by the reaction of the steam jet as the steam is coming out from this side and this side of the pipe. So due to that reaction force, this spherical wheel is start rotating. Okay, this is the concept of a simple steam turbine, and this one is the simple hydro turbine. It's a Pelton wheel. Here a nozzle is shown here. This is the water jet. Okay, and this one are the cup or blades which is mounted on the wheel. So as the water jet strikes on it, so the wheel start rotating in this fashion. Okay, so this is the Hero's turbine. Okay, and this one is the Pelton wheel. This is a basic steam turbine, and this one is the basic hydro turbine. So these are the basic concept of steam turbine. So let's start from the flow through nozzles that, and let's see what kind of velocity and what kind of changes the pressure and density, what kind of changes is happened in the nozzles. Okay, so let's talk about the flow through nozzle. A nozzle is a duct by flowing through which the velocity of fluid increases at the experience of pressure drop. That means in the nozzle, the velocity of the fluid is getting increased and the pressure of that fluid is getting decreased. Where in case of diffuser, a duct which decreases the velocity of fluid and causes corresponding increase in pressure. So that means in diffuser the velocity get decreased and the pressure get increased. So a same duct can be used as a nozzle or as a diffuser depending upon the end conditions and across it. Okay, so that means here we can you can see the construction of different ducts. This one is the convergent duct where the flow is from this side, and this one is the divergent duct where the flow is from this side, and this one is the convergent divergent duct first part is convergent, then the second part is divergent, and the middle portion is called throat. Okay, so depending on the end conditions, we choose the types of duct, that means the convergent, divergent, or convergent, divergent. Okay, and one thing, if the density does not change or the change very little, the fluid is said to be incompressible, but the gases and vapors are compressible, whereas the liquids are incompressible. Okay, so this is the property of the fluid. So depending on this property also is must be considered by when we choose the duct, okay, for the nozzle purpose or for diffuser purpose. Okay, now the pressure velocity of pressure pulse in a fluid. So as shown in this figure, this one, it's a cylinder and this one is a piston. It's filled with a fluid of density rho, pressure P, and enthalpy H. So what we are going to do is we are just pushing the piston towards right. So a pressure wave is generated here. This one is the pressure wave, this line is the pressure wave, which moves at a velocity c, okay, which moves at a velocity c towards the right, and beyond that wave front, this is the wave front. Beyond this wave front, the properties are rho plus d rho, p plus dp, h plus dh. That means there is slightly increased in the properties beyond this wave front, because it's a compressible fluid. So as the piston compress the fluid, and this is the pressure wave, so between the piston and the pressure wave front there is a slight change in the properties. Okay, and beyond this wave front there is the properties are not changed. That means density, pressure, and enthalpy are not changed. So the piston velocity is dv, this is the velocity dv, and the wavefront velocity is c, the same as the sound velocity. Now in the next case is the same thing, but in this case let an observer be assumed to travel with a wavefront to the right with a velocity c. Okay, here the observer travel with the wavefront to the right with a velocity c, and the fluid flows steadily from the right to left, okay, as it passes through the wavefront, and the velocity as shown in this figure. So the velocity is reduces from c to c minus dv. This is the velocity beyond the wavefront. The wavefront velocity is c, and between the cylinder and the wavefront the velocity is c minus dv. Okay, at the same time the pressure rises from p to p plus dp, density rho plus d rho, enthalpy h plus dh. Okay, so and this thing, this dotted enclosure is the control volume. Okay, so now if we apply the continuity equation, if we apply the continuity equation for the control volume, then let's see what happened. Now the continuity equation for the control volume, so the beyond the control volume the density is rho, the cross sectional area of the piston is obviously a, and the velocity of the wavefront is c, and in between the piston and the control volume the density is rho plus d rho, the area of cross section is unchanged, the velocity is c minus dv. Okay, so by simplifying we can write rho into C is equals to rho C minus rho into dV. This is the rho, okay, rho into dV plus C into d rho minus d rho dV. Okay, I am telling you one thing. This the continuity equation is the equation that you have already learned in the fluid mechanics in basic physics. So the continuity equation is nothing but it's a multiplication of density, cross-sectional area and velocity, or we can write the cross-sectional area into velocity by the specific volume. The reciprocal of density is specific volume. So for a fluid flow in a pipe or any kind of cross section, suppose this one is cross section 1 and this one is cross section 2. So for this fluid flow we can apply the continuity equation. That means we can write rho 1 a1 by rho 1 a1 into v1 is obviously equals to rho 2 a2 and v2, okay, where rho 1 is the density at point 1, a1 is the cross sectional area at point 1 and v1 is the velocity at point 1. Similarly rho 2 a2 and v2 are the same for in case of 2, okay, the density of 2, area at 2 and velocity at 2. So this is the continuity equation. So by simplifying the previous equation and neglecting the very small quantity, the small multiplication, that means this dv and d rho, these two are the very small. So we get rho into dv, that is equals to c into d rho. Okay, by neglecting this portion we get this rho into dv equals to c into d rho. Now we're going to apply the momentum equation. That means from the momentum conservation law we get the momentum equation. So from momentum equation, so from momentum equation let's see what we get. That is pressure, the pressure beyond the control volume minus the pressure increased P plus dP into the area, that is equals to rho into A into the velocity of the wavefront into the velocity difference, that means C minus dV minus C. Okay, so this is the momentum equation for that control volume. Okay, so now from this equation, from this one and from this equation, from these two equation, okay, we get, that is from, suppose this one is equation number 1 and this one is equation number 2. So from 1 and 2, from 1 and 2 we get dP by C is equals to C into d rho. We get dP by C is equals to C into d rho. So from equation 1 and 2, that means from continuity equation and from momentum equation, we get del P by dP by C is equals to C into d rho. So that means C square equals to dP by d rho. Okay, C square equals to dP by d rho, or we can write C is equals to root over dP by d rho. So for this kind of situation, for compressible flow through a channel or through a duct, the velocity, that means the velocity of the wavefront, which is equals to the sound velocity, that is equals to root over dp by d rho, the change in pressure by the change in density. Since the variations in pressure and temperature are negligibly small, and the change of state is so fast that as to be essentially adiabatic, and the absence of many internal friction or viscosity, the process is reversible and isentropic. Hence, the sonic velocity or sound velocity can be written as c is equals to root over del p by del rho s. Okay, so we know that the fluid is no fluid is truly incompressible. Also, the liquids show the little change in density. The velocity of sound in common liquid is of order of 1650 meter per second. Now let's find out the velocity of sound in ideal gas. So we know that for case of ideal gas, which follows the adiabatic law or isentropic law, we can write that is P into specific volume, the small v to the power gamma is equals to constant. Okay, or we know that the reciprocal of specific volume is density, so P by rho to the power gamma is equals to constant. Okay, now by the logarithmic differentiation, mm, by doing logarithmic differentiation, we get that is dp by p minus gamma into d rho by rho is equals to 0. Okay, so that is equals to dp by d rho is equals to gamma into p by rho. Okay, and since we have shown that the c square is equals to dp by d rho, we have already proved that thing, and from the ideal gas law we can write p equals to rho into rt, p equals to rho into rt. So we can write that is, so by applying these two condition into this equation, we can write c square is equals to gamma rt. Okay, or we can write c equals to root over gamma rt. Okay, so in this equation, where the r is the characteristics gas constant, which equals to the universal gas constant and divided by the molecular weight of the gas. So since we are talking about the velocity of sound, so one thing that we have to know, that is the Mach number. Okay, the Mach number which is defined by m, capital M, equals to the velocity of the object by the sound velocity. Okay, so it's defined by the actual velocity to the sound velocity. Okay, so when the Mach number, the value of m is greater than 1, then the flow is said to be supersonic. When the Mach number is greater than 1, the flow is said to be supersonic, and when the Mach number is less than 1, the flow is said to be subsonic flow. Subsonic. And when the flow is, or the Mach number is equals to 1, when the Mach number value is equals to 1, the flow is said sonic. This is the sonic velocity. Okay, so these are the three conditions. When the Mach number is greater than 1, it's called supersonic. When the Mach number is less than 1, it's called subsonic, and when the Mach number is equals to 1, it's called the sonic. So the supersonic plane or supersonic jet planes are flows greater than 1 value. The velocity is much higher than the sound velocity. Okay, that's why we called it the supersonic jet or supersonic plane. Okay, so let's talk about the stagnation properties. So first we have to define what is stagnation properties. The stagnation, the isentropic stagnation state is defined as the state a fluid in motion would reach if it were brought to rest isentropically in a steady flow, adiabatic and zero work output device. Okay, so this is a reference state in compressible fluid flow and is commonly designated with subscript 0 as shown in here, that is P0 and H0. H0 is the stagnation enthalpy and P0 is the stagnation pressure. This P is the static pressure and this one is the enthalpy at that point. Okay, and if we apply the steady flow energy equation for these 2 points, okay, so we get, that is H0 is equals to H plus V square by 2. So stagnation velocity is 0 because the fluid comes to rest. Okay, so that means V0 is 0. So that is H0 is equals to H plus V square by 2. Okay, so now we can write, that is H0 minus H is equals to V square by 2. So this is the difference in enthalpy. So in case of ideal gas, we can write, that is Cp into T0 minus T is equals to V square by 2. This is the basic equation that we have already learned, that is difference, the dH is equal to Cp into dt. So that dH is nothing but H0 minus H, that is equals to Cp into T0 minus T. Okay, that is equals to V square by 2. So suppose this is the equation 1. So we can write, that is T0 minus T is equals to V square by 2 into Cp, and we know that the Cp by Cv is equals to gamma and Cp minus Cv is equals to R. Okay, so from these two equation we can write Cp is equals to gamma into R by gamma minus 1. Okay, we know that we can derive this Cp value from these two equation. Okay, so by substituting this Cp value into this equation we get, V square by 2 into gamma R by gamma minus 1, that is T0 minus T. Okay, we can write we can write T0 minus T is equals to V square by 2 into gamma R by gamma minus 1, this thing. Okay, or we can write T0 minus T is equals to V square into gamma minus 1 by 2 into gamma into R. Okay, so from the equation number, suppose it's equation number 2. So from this equation we can write, or we can rearrange this thing, that is T0 by T, that is equals to 1 plus V square into gamma minus 1 by 2 into gamma RT. So from this equation number 2 we can rearrange this thing. T0 by T is equals to 1 plus V square into gamma minus 1 by 2 into gamma RT. Okay, and and already we have derived that the c, the sonic velocity, is equals to gamma RT. We have already derived this thing, and we know that Mach number m equals to v by c. So m square is equals to v square by c square, or we know that c equals to root over gamma RT and Mach number equals to v by c. So m square equals to v square by c square. So we can write v square by, the value of c square is gamma RT. So now we are going to substitute this value. Now we are going to substitute this value into this equation. Okay, so let's see what happened. 1 plus, that is gamma minus 1 by 2 into m square. Okay, so this is the value of T0 by T. So this is the value of T0 by T. T0 is the stagnation temperature and T is the static temperature. That means the temperature at that point where we are going to study this thing. Okay, T0 is the static temperature and T is the T0 is the stagnation temperature. T0 is the stagnation temperature and T is the static temperature. Okay, so and again another thing, the relation between the stagnation pressure and static pressure, we know that the relation between stagnation pressure and the static pressure, we know that P0 by P is equals to T0 by T to the power gamma by gamma minus 1. Okay, this is the relation between the static pressure and the stagnation pressure. Okay, so by substituting the value of T0 by T, we get, so now we are going to substitute the value of T0 by T that we have already derived. So the value is 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 into m square to the power gamma by gamma minus 1. So this is the expression for the relation between the stagnation pressure to static pressure is equals to T0 by T to the power gamma by gamma minus 1 into 1 plus gamma minus 1 by 2 into m square to the power gamma by gamma minus 1. Okay, so this is the relation between the static pressure and the stagnation pressure. This is the stagnation pressure, this P0 is the stagnation pressure, and this P is the static pressure. This is the relation between these two pressure with the Mach number. Okay, with the Mach number. Now the subsonic and supersonic nozzles. So for isentropic flow through nozzle, isentropic. So for isentropic flow through nozzles, we can write H0 equals to H plus V square by 2. Okay, we have already see this equation. We can write this, but since H0 is the stagnation enthalpy and it does not change, okay, so by differentiating in both side, we get that is dH equals to minus V dV. Since this is the constant term, because H0 is the stagnation enthalpy and it does not change, so the minus sign, that's why it comes. And from the property relation, so it's equation number 1, and from the property relation, from the property relations, we can write that is T ds is equals to dH minus V dP. This V is specific volume, okay. TdS in equals to dH minus V dP. And so from this equation, in case of isentropic flow, since in case of isentropic flow, the value of ds is equals to 0. For case of isentropic flow, the value of ds is 0. So we can write dH equals to V dP, or we can write dP by rho, because since it's a specific volume, so it's the reciprocal of density, so we can write dH equals to dP by rho. This is equation number 2. So from equation number 2 and from equation number 1, from these two equations, from equation number 2 and from equation number 1, we can write from 1 and 2, we can write that is dP is equals to minus rho V dV, okay. We can write minus rho V dV, okay. So we can write dP by dV is equals to minus rho into V. So dP by dV equals to minus rho into V. So we can comment that is dP by dV is equals to 0. We can write. So what that means? That means as the pressure decreases for flow through nozzles, the velocity increases, and vice versa. As the pressure decreases, the velocity increases. So from this equation, we can comment that for case of flow through nozzle, as the pressure decreases, the velocity increases, or vice versa. As the pressure increases, the velocity decreases, okay. So from the continuity equation, again, so from the continuity equation, we can write the mass flow rate m dot is equals to density into area into velocity. The mass flow rate, the unit of mass flow rate is kg per second, okay. The unit of density is kg per meter cube. The unit of area is meter square. The unit of velocity, we know that, meter per second. So multiplied by these three, we get the unit of mass flow rate is kg per second. So this is the continuity equation. So from the continuity equation, that means we are going to apply this continuity equation for the fluid which flows through the nozzle, we can write this thing, and by the logarithmic differentiation, by logarithmic differentiation, that means first thing we have to take log of this thing and then we have to differentiate. By logarithmic differentiation we get del rho by rho plus del a by a plus del v by v is equals to 0. Since the mass flow rate is constant, since this mass flow rate is constant, so the differentiation of this mass flow rate is 0. So from this relation again we can write, from this relation, that is dA by A is equals to minus dV by V minus, sorry, d rho by rho. Okay, so from this equation we can write this thing, and we know that in the previous case the value of dP by dV is nothing but minus rho v. So from that equation that we have already proved in earlier, so from that equation we can write dA by A is equals to dP by rho into V square minus d rho by rho. Okay, so this thing comes from the previous equation that we have already derived, that is dP by dV is equals to minus rho v. This equation, that is dP by dV is equals to minus rho v. So from this equation we get dP by rho v square. Okay, by substituting the value of dV, we get the dP by rho v square minus d rho by rho. So again we can write, so from this equation again we can write, that is dP by rho v square into 1 minus v square into dP by d rho by dP. So dA by A is equals to dP by rho v square into 1 minus v square into d rho by dP. So this is the equation that comes, and also we can write, that is dP by rho v square into 1 minus, that is the value of v square into d rho by dP is m square, the Mach square. Okay, so we can write, that is dA by A is equals to, so we can write dA by A equals to m square minus 1 into dV by V. Okay, so this is the relation between the area and the velocity with the Mach number. This is a relation between the area and velocity with the Mach number. Okay, so from this above equation, that is dA by A is equals to m square minus 1 into dv by d. So from this equation we can comment that when the Mach number is less than 1, that means when the value of m is less than 1, the inlet velocity is subsonic. As the area A decreases, the pressure decreases, the velocity increases. So for subsonic flow, a convergent passage or duct becomes a nozzle, and a divergent passage or duct becomes a diffuser. And when the value of m is greater than 1, that is when the inlet velocity is supersonic, as the flow area A decreases and pressure increases, the velocity decreases, and as the flow area A increases, the pressure decreases and velocity increases. So for supersonic flow, a convergent passage is a diffuser and a divergent passage is a nozzle. So as four type of ducts are shown here. First, these two are the convergent type duct and these two are the divergent type duct. So for case number 1, the convergent type duct, when the inlet flow is less than 1, the inlet Mach number is less than 1, that means subsonic, that convergent duct is act as a nozzle. Now come to the second case. This is the divergent duct and the inlet Mach number is less than 1, and the velocity decreases here, that is Mach number became at section 2, the outlet, the Mach number at outlet M2 is 0.3, so Mach number decreases. So the divergent duct is act for this kind of case is as a diffuser. So when in case of divergent duct, when the inlet Mach number is less than 1, it will act as a diffuser. Okay, now come to the case number 3. This is the case number 3, the convergent type duct, where the Mach number is greater than 1. When the Mach number greater than 1, the inlet Mach number greater than 1, the outlet Mach number getting decreased. So when in case of convergent type duct, the inlet Mach number is greater than 1, it will act as a diffuser. This is the diffuser. Okay, again for case number 4, that is the inlet Mach number is greater than 1 and this duct is a divergent type duct. So if in case of divergent type duct, the inlet Mach number is greater than 1, the outlet Mach number is getting increased. So the divergent type of duct for supersonic flow is act as a nozzle. For divergent type duct, in case of supersonic inlet flow, will act as a nozzle, and for convergent type duct, in case of supersonic flow, is act as a diffuser. For convergent type duct, in case of subsonic flow, is act as a nozzle, and for divergent type duct, for subsonic flow is for divergent type duct for subsonic flow is behaves as a diffuser. Okay, as the Mach number decreases. So this is the relation between the area, velocity and the Mach number, and how we define the different how we define the nozzle and diffuser depends on the end conditions. So this is the situation where this is the how do we define the how do we differentiate the diffuser and a nozzle. Okay, this is the conditions. By using from this equation we can define which kind of duct is nozzle and which kind of duct is diffuser. So this is the conditions. Okay.